The 1990s promised a new era for muscle cars, with loud exhausts, flashy body kits, and bold badges trying to convince us of their authenticity. But here in 2025, many of those muscle cars are nothing more than rusted money pits. The truth is, they haven't aged well. The initial hype has faded, revealing flawed engineering, misguided marketing, and a fundamental misunderstanding of what defines a true performance car. Their aesthetics have withered, performance figures pale, and reliability is legendary for all the wrong reasons. Today on Off-Road Beasts, we're counting down 20 worthless 90s muscle cars that you should absolutely avoid. If you value your hard-earned money, your sanity, or even your garage space, steer clear of these automotive relics that time and the market have definitively forgotten. The countdown of calamity. 90s muscle that missed the mark. 1994 Chevy Camaro V6. The fourth-generation Chevrolet Camaro arrived in the mid-90s with a sharp, predatory new design, boasting sleek lines and an aggressive stance that hinted at serious performance. It truly looked like a muscle car, ready to devour asphalt. However, the promise of its aggressive exterior was quickly shattered for those who opted for the base V6 model. Underneath that striking hood lay a decidedly anemic 3.4-liter, later 3.8-liter V6 engine that struggled to produce meaningful horsepower. With acceleration figures that could charitably be described as leisurely, these V6 Camaros were easily outpaced by common family sedans and even minivans of their era. The cheap, hard plastic interior, notorious for rattles and poor fitment, further detracted from the experience. In 2025, these V6 Camaros are ubiquitous in junkyards, stripped for parts, their once bold designs now just faded memories. They possess almost zero collector value, serving primarily as parts donors for their more desirable V8-powered siblings. 1993 Ford Mustang GT, SN95 generation of the Ford Mustang, marked a significant redesign for the iconic pony car in the 1990s. While it brought a more contemporary shape, these early 1993 GT models, particularly those still equipped with the aging 5.0-liter V8, often suffered from a combination of factors that led to their rapid depreciation. The interior, though updated, felt cheap and plasticky, failing to inspire confidence or a sense of quality. Styling, while new, quickly dated, becoming bland and forgettable compared to the more aggressive later New Edge Mustangs. Furthermore, many early SN95s were plagued with reliability issues, from cooling system woes to electrical gremlins that could quickly drain an owner's patience and wallet. Today, these early SN95 GTs are relegated to the bottom of the Mustang desirability hierarchy, basically worthless and often seen as nothing more than project cars that will cost more to restore than they are worth. 1992 Pontiac Firebird Formula V6. The Pontiac Firebird, especially in its sleeker, more aggressive third-generation form, should have been the embodiment of muscle car dreams. Its wedge-shaped profile and pop-up headlights screamed performance. However, for every desirable Trans Am or Formula with a roaring V8, there was a V6 variant that delivered nothing but profound disappointment. The V6 engine, while a step up from the 4 cylinders of previous eras, was utterly insufficient to move the Firebird's substantial weight with any real authority. The driving experience was detached, the engine note uninspiring, and the overall impression was one of a car that looked the part but completely failed to deliver. Collectors and enthusiasts exclusively chased the V8 models, leaving the V6 Firebirds to languish in forgotten driveways and bargain basement classifieds. They are the definition of an overlooked and undesirable relic. 17. 1991 Dodge Stealth ES. With its sleek, low-slung profile and dramatic pop-up headlights, the Dodge Stealth ES looked undeniably exotic, like a miniature supercar fresh from the future. It shared its platform with the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, giving it a veneer of high-tech performance. However, if you didn't opt for the top-tier RT twin-turbo model, which boasted all-wheel drive and a formidable twin-turbo V6, you were left with the front-wheel drive ES variant. This model was saddled with a naturally aspirated V6 that struggled against the car's considerable curb weight. The result was a sluggish, heavy coupe that only pretended to be a muscle car. Its performance was mediocre, its handling uninspired, and its complexity often led to expensive maintenance issues that made ownership a financial headache. Without the twin-turbo heart, the Stealth ES is merely an expensive visual exercise, offering little in the way of performance or long-term value. 16. 1995 Mercury Cougar XR7. The Mercury Cougar nameplate, once synonymous with a muscular, luxurious pony car, had by 1995 devolved into something far less inspiring. The XR7 model, meant to convey a performance edge, was essentially a rebadged and slightly restyled Ford Thunderbird. While it wore performance badges and attempted to project an image of sporty sophistication, underneath its relatively anonymous sheet metal, was a heavy, comfortable, but ultimately uninspiring ride. Its available engines, while including a V8, were tuned for comfort rather than aggression, failing to excite or engage the driver. The Cougar XR7 never truly found a dedicated audience beyond those seeking a comfortable, low-key cruiser. In 2025, these cars are virtually scrap metal, their parts values barely exceeding the cost of towing them away. They represent a brand that had lost its identity, and a model that had no real place in the enthusiast market. 15. 1993 Chevrolet Lumina Z34. The 1990s saw a peculiar trend where General Motors believed that simply slapping a Z badge onto a pedestrian family sedan could magically imbue it with sportiness. The Chevrolet Lumina Z34 is the quintessential example of this flawed marketing strategy. Based on the bland front-wheel drive Lumina sedan, the Z34 added a slightly more aggressive body kit and a V6 engine that, while more potent than the base Lumina, was still woefully inadequate for anything resembling true performance. The driving dynamics were numb, the handling sloppy, and the interior a sea of cheap plastic. It was a clear case of fake performance, a cynical attempt to cash in on the muscle car image without delivering any of the substance. Today, the Lumina Z34 is a forgotten footnote in automotive history, a symbol of GM's struggles to define its performance identity in the 90s, and utterly worthless on the collector market. 14. 1996 Pontiac Grand Prix, GTP. The Pontiac Grand Prix GTP arrived with a supercharged V6 engine, promising a muscle sedan experience. On paper, the supercharged 3.8-liter V6 offered decent power for its time. However, the Grand Prix GTP was plagued by fundamental design flaws and widespread mechanical issues that quickly tarnished its reputation. Its front-wheel drive layout meant a severe struggle with torque steer, making hard acceleration a wrestling match with the steering wheel. More critically, these cars were notorious for a host of mechanical problems, including failing transmissions, persistent intake manifold gasket leaks, and general electrical maladies that left owners stranded. Trying to sell one today is an exercise in futility. You'd be lucky to get a few $100s, as any prospective buyer knows they're purchasing a project car with an almost guaranteed need for significant expensive repairs. 13. 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse GS, non-turbo. The Mitsubishi Eclipse, particularly its second generation, became an icon thanks to its prominent role in the Fast and Furious franchise and its sporty, tuner-friendly aesthetics. It certainly looked like a street racer, a car built for speed. However, for every fire-breathing all-wheel drive turbo GSX or GST, there was the base model GS, and it was a completely different animal. The non-turbo Eclipse GS was powered by a modest four-cylinder engine, offering little in the way of performance beyond what a typical economy car could deliver. It was all bark and no bite, possessing the aggressive styling without any of the underlying mechanical prowess. Enthusiasts and collectors unequivocally chased the turbocharged models, ignoring the naturally aspirated GS variants, which are now practically worthless. They are often found in various states of disrepair, their once cool looks tarnished by time and neglect, unable to live up to the high-octane image they project. 12. 1994 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme Convertible Oldsmobile. A brand struggling to find its identity in the 90s, made an attempt at sporty luxury with the Cutlass Supreme Convertible. The result was a vehicle that embodied neither truly. Based on a platform not designed for open-top motoring, the convertible suffered from severe chassis flex, leading to a floppy and unrefined driving experience. Power came from an uninspiring V6 engine that felt utterly inadequate for the car's size and weight. It was a vehicle that nobody particularly wanted when it was new, and even fewer want it now. The lack of power, coupled with its poor structural rigidity and general anonymity, means the 1994 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme Convertible holds virtually no appeal to collectors or even those looking for a cheap cruiser. It's a sad footnote in the decline of a once proud American automotive brand. 11. 1997 Chevrolet Monte Carlo Z34. The Chevrolet Monte Carlo once held a storied place in American automotive history, synonymous with NASCAR legends and powerful V8 muscle. By the late 1990s, however, its nameplate had been tragically diluted. The 1997 Monte Carlo Z34 was a stark example of this decline. It had transformed into a bloated front-wheel drive coupe built on GM's W-body platform, sharing components with various sedans. While it featured a V6 engine and some Z34 badging, it bore little resemblance to its powerful ancestors. The styling was generic, the handling soft and unresponsive, and the overall driving experience was one of disconnect. It was a car that failed to capture the spirit of performance, becoming an automotive disappointment that faded quickly into obscurity. In 2025, these Monte Carlos are entirely forgettable, with no enthusiast following and effectively no monetary value. The true flops, descending into the worthless top 10. Which one of these so-called muscle cars do you think is the biggest flop? Was it the underpowered Camaro or the plasticky Mustang? Drop your pick in the comment section below and tell us why you think it deserves the crown of worthlessness. And if you're loving this brutal breakdown of automotive failures, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more uncensored, no-holds-barred car lists from Off-Road Beasts. Now, let's dive into the top 10 of these utterly undesirable vehicles. 10. 1992 Dodge Daytona. IROX. The IROX badge, short for International Race of Champions, was once a symbol of high-performance road racing. Sadly, Dodge decided to slap this prestigious moniker onto its front-wheel drive Daytona coupe. For muscle car purists, this was an unforgivable offense. The 1992 Dodge Daytona IROX, despite some turbocharged options, was fundamentally based on Chrysler's K-Car platform, a utilitarian front-wheel drive architecture completely at odds with the rear-wheel drive V8-powered heritage of American muscle. It was a confusing and contradictory offering that failed to impress muscle car fans then, and time has certainly not been kind. The Daytona IROC remains a relic of an era when badges were applied liberally, often without genuine performance backing, making it a worthless curiosity today. 1996 Ford Thunderbird LX. By the mid-1990s, the Ford Thunderbird had fully transitioned from a sporty personal luxury coupe to a large, heavy, and decidedly slow cruiser. The 1996 Thunderbird LX, while often equipped with a V8 engine, was tuned for comfort and quiet operation, not performance. Its suspension was soft, its handling numb, and its acceleration sluggish. This Thunderbird had more in common with your grandmother's comfortable Buick than with any true muscle car. Its anonymous styling further contributed to its forgettability. Without any genuine performance credentials or a compelling design, the 90s Thunderbird LX is largely ignored by collectors and enthusiasts, languishing on used car lots for minimal sums, proving that even a V8 doesn't guarantee a pulse when the rest of the package is inert. 8. 1991 Pontiac Sunbird GT. Pontiac, in its desperate attempt to inject sportiness across its lineup, tried to pass off the humble Sunbird as a GT car in 1991. The reality was far from the aggressive image its name might suggest. The Sunbird was a compact front-wheel drive economy car at its core, and adding a GT badge and some cosmetic enhancements did little to alter its fundamental limitations. Its available engines were small and uninspiring, completely lacking the power or character expected of a Grand Tourer. The interior was cheap, and the driving experience was devoid of excitement. The Pontiac Sunbird GT stands as one of the weakest and most mislabeled GT cars of the decade, a clear example of badge engineering gone awry. It is universally considered worthless by anyone seeking legitimate performance or collector value. 7. 1997 Chevy Cavalier Z24. Much like the Lumina Z34, the Chevrolet Cavalier Z24 represents another egregious attempt by GM to inject sportiness into a mundane economy car by simply adding an aggressive body kit and a badge. The Cavalier, even in Z24 trim, was fundamentally a basic front-wheel drive compact car designed for fuel efficiency and affordability, not performance. Its four-cylinder engine, even the slightly more powerful options, was meek, and the chassis was never intended for anything beyond basic commuting. The Z24 package did little more than create a visual illusion of speed without any substance. A Z badge certainly didn't save it from its identity as a cheap, mass-produced vehicle back then, and it certainly does not impart any value to it now. These cars are purely utilitarian vehicles, disposable and entirely without enthusiast appeal. 6. 1995 Chrysler Sebring Coupe. The Chrysler Sebring Coupe, particularly the first generation launched in 1995, was a textbook example of all looks, no performance. Its sleek, flowing lines and pillarless windows gave it a visually appealing, almost concept car-like appearance. However, underneath that attractive exterior lay a platform shared with sedans, and power came from a range of uninspired four-cylinder and V6 engines that were adequate for daily driving, but entirely insufficient for anything remotely resembling a muscle car. The Sebring Coupe lacked the raw power, aggressive handling, or mechanical robustness required for true performance. It was a car designed to look good in the showroom, but offered nothing substantial on the road. Today, the Sebring Coupe is largely forgotten, its once attractive styling now dated, and its complete lack of performance ensuring its place among the truly worthless. 5. 1992 Chevy Beretta GTZ. The Chevrolet Beretta GTZ was GM's attempt at a sporty, compact front-wheel drive coupe aimed at a younger, performance-oriented demographic. It had a relatively fun name and sported some cool, angular styling for its era. However, The Beretta GTZ suffered from several critical flaws that ultimately sealed its fate. While it featured the relatively advanced for its time quad-4 engine, this engine was notorious for its harshness, noise, and significant reliability issues, including head gasket failures. Its front-wheel drive layout limited its performance potential, and the overall build quality was typical of 90s GM compacts, rattly and prone to wear. In 2025, the Beretta GTZ is completely forgotten, overshadowed by more successful or enduring performance coupes. Its issues, combined with its limited aftermarket and enthusiast support, render it practically valueless today. 4. 1994 Pontiac Bonneville SSEA. Pontiac's Bonneville SSEA was an ambitious attempt to combine full-size American luxury with a dash of muscle car flair, featuring a supercharged V6 engine under its hood. The idea was to create a performance-inspired sedan that could appeal to those wanting both comfort and speed. Unfortunately, the execution fell short. The Bonneville SSEA was a truly clunky, heavy boat of a car, and despite the supercharged V6, its sheer mass made it feel sluggish rather than agile. Its front-wheel drive platform meant compromised handling and significant torque steer. Moreover, these cars were plagued with the same mechanical issues as other GM 3.8L supercharged cars of the era, notably intake manifold gasket failures and transmission woes, leading to costly and frequent breakdowns. It's a prime example of a luxury car trying to be something it wasn't, resulting in a large, failure-prone vehicle with absolutely no collector interest. 3. 1991 Dodge Spirit RT. The 1991 Dodge Spirit RT is an interesting case because on paper it had genuine performance potential. It was a family sedan, but it packed a powerful turbocharged 2.2-liter four-cylinder engine, producing an impressive 224 horsepower thanks to Lotus-designed cylinder heads. This made it surprisingly quick for its time. However, the Spirit RT was notorious for its extreme unreliability. The highly tuned turbo engine was prone to myriad issues, from turbocharger failures to persistent oil leaks and electrical problems. These cars spent more time on jack stands in the garage than they did on the road, leaving owners with constant headaches and expensive repair bills. While a handful of enthusiasts still cherish them, the vast majority are long gone, rusted away or scrapped due to their chronic mechanical frailties. Without deep pockets and significant mechanical expertise, owning a Spirit RT is a financial black hole, making it effectively worthless to the average buyer. 2. 1996 Buick Regal GS. The very idea of a Buick and muscle occupying the same sentence often elicits a chuckle from automotive enthusiasts. The 1996 Buick Regal GS, despite featuring a supercharged 3.8-liter V6 engine, proves precisely why this juxtaposition is problematic. While the engine offered decent straight-line acceleration for a large sedan, the Regal GS was fundamentally a comfortable front-wheel drive grandpa car with a soft suspension and numb steering. It delivered a completely disconnected driving experience that was antithetical to the very concept of a muscle car. It was sluggish through corners, suffered from pronounced body roll, and lacked any form of driving excitement. The Buick Regal GS is a prime example of a manufacturer attempting to inject performance into a platform entirely unsuited for it, resulting in a vehicle that is now universally considered worthless by anyone seeking even a hint of sporting character. 1. 1993 Ford Probe GT. Perhaps the most infamous case of a 90s car trying to be a muscle car, or even replace one, is the 1993 Ford Probe GT. Ford once seriously considered this front-wheel drive Mazda platformed coupe to replace the legendary Mustang. Thankfully, that ill-conceived plan never came to fruition. The Probe GT, while featuring flashy aerodynamic styling and a respectable V6 engine sourced from Mazda, was fundamentally a sport compact, not a muscle car. Its front-wheel drive layout, refined handling, and rev-happy V6 were designed for a different kind of performance than the brute force and rear-wheel drive antics expected of a Mustang. The controversy surrounding its potential to replace the Mustang, combined with its ultimately underwhelming performance for the muscle car segment, sealed its fate. Today, the Ford Probe GT is a forgotten curiosity. Its once flashy looks now dated, its power output considered weak, and its overall desirability among enthusiasts and collectors is virtually non-existent. It stands as one of the most worthless and misguided muscle cars of the 90s, a testament to what happens when identity is confused. Automotive relics of disappointment. So there you have it, our brutal list of 2019 90s muscle cars that completely lost their edge, value, and appeal by 2025. This era delivered many vehicles that failed to live up to the muscle car name, often substituting true performance with superficial styling and compromised engineering. Now we turn to you, the automotive fanatics. Which forgotten machine deserves a comeback, and which should stay buried forever? Let us know in the comments below. And before you peel out, smash that like button and subscribe to Off-Road Beasts for more epic automotive lists, forgotten legends, and dangerous machines. Until next time, keep it loud, keep it wild.